Hello, my beautiful IU. Thank you for joining me today. Marc, the digital shaman, glad to be with you. And today I'm talking about freedom from chronic pain and fatigue. The missing element is spirit, and how I found this out after much struggling and many kind of false starts. I found this out. So, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I had a car accident in 2011 that was pretty devastating. I had 12 discs in my back that were herniated or crushed, otherwise injured. And that kind of led me on a path to going through the Western medical system and what they recommended to do, which was take opioids and go to a pain clinic and exercise and eat better. What they didn't really seem to understand is if I took the amount of medication that they prescribed, that I would turn into a zombie. And I tried that for a brief time, and I realized that that was no way to live. And unfortunately for me, the kind of injury I had wasn't really treatable by surgery. So I started a very long journey to try to figure out how to heal. And by 2013, a couple of years later, it got so bad that I felt like, what's the point of going on? I mean, I woke up with my pain level at a 10 out of 10, and I went to bed at my pain level at 10 out of 10, right? So it was very hard to figure out what the point of it all was. But what got me through was community, my family, my friends, the effect that it would have on them, how devastated they would be. And that made me turn inward and really start listening to what my body was telling me. I didn't really understand it in those words back then, but that's what I was doing. I was trying to figure out what is in this pain for me? What is the message that I'm supposed to be getting? And slowly over time, I started to understand that what I had been doing was treating my body as a consumable resource and kind of subverting all my physical, emotional, and even spiritual needs to my will, to my ego, to achieve what I thought I needed to achieve, to be successful, to have money, have things. And none of that was really making me happy. And I believe now what spirit did with that accident was kind of a slap in the face to get me to pay attention. And I've talked to so many people since then that have had similar stories, what Carl Jung called the dark night of the soul, where you have to go through something pretty horrific, pretty significant in your life, whether it's physical, emotional, or what have you. And it's really spirit trying to get your attention so that you can get the message and clear the decks, so to speak, and start letting go of the things that don't serve you. And I wasn't getting that for the longest time. But when I started to listen and I started through research, through reading, through talking to people that spirit put in my path to help me, I started to realize that this was all happening for me, not to me. And I started to understand that I needed to make some significant changes, not just to the way I eat, not just to the way that I was living in terms of getting burned out all the time, but that I had a calling, that I had a mission. And it began with me learning how to heal myself. And so by 2015, I I was doing better. I was making incremental progress. I had found some things that helped me, like spinal decompression therapy. I was eating better. I was still very overweight. I had started eating a non inflammatory diet. I cut out dairy and some other things, and it was helping. But there was still a lot of suffering involved. And at that point, I had an ulcer that almost killed me. I almost bled out, and the ulcer was caused by the pain medication I was taking. So I wasn't listening well enough, I guess, to stop actually taking the pain medication. And that's when I really thought, well, if I keep doing what the doctors tell me to do, they're going to kill me. And I need to find another way. I need to find my own way. And that's what led me to studying indigenous ways of living and eating, and what I developed my 12-week program around. I'm not really going to talk about that a whole lot today. I'm just throwing it out there so that you know that I do have a program that I built around my healing journey and all the things that I've learned and the training that I've received. But that the beginning of that was 2015 when I had the ulcer, and at that time I was so weak that I could barely get out of bed. I had to roll out of bed on the floor and sleep on the floor and crawl to the bathroom. And I know some of you that are listening can relate to that, to being that out of it. And that's what led me slowly but surely to really look at everything in my life under a microscope. What serves me, what doesn't serve me. Relationships, jobs, how I was eating, how I was exercising or not, all of it, all of it. And I believe that that's what spirit leads us to do, is to get to the point where we can do that so that we can allow in the new things that do serve us by letting the old things that don't serve us go. That's how it works. So I talk to people a lot that have a mindset where they're like, well, I have this problem I want help with. Let's say it's chronic pain. I have chronic pain. I want help with chronic pain. What they're not making the linkage of yet is that that problem is related to every other problem in their life, literally. The Western medicine view of it would not agree with that. They would say you have a problem, you need a solution. So it's really matching the symptom with a solution. But in the Karo way of thinking, the Karo are a people in the Andes. They speak Quechua, and they live in the foothills of the Andes in Peru and Ecuador and some other places. And their whole philosophy doesn't even include the concept of disease or sickness. They believe that any imbalance in your life originates from the spirit, and it's the spirit trying to give you a message. And it's to get you to do something about it, to get you to do something about that message in this mind, body, spirit kind of holistic way, because they believe it's all linked together. And so when I started operating under that assumption that everything is one thing, everything started to change for me. The Karo talk about the concept of Ayni, spelled Ayni, and it incorporates the idea of harmony and reciprocity. And being in harmony means that you're in reciprocity with yourself, with other people, with the earth, with all that is. And so whenever you're experiencing something other than that, it's because something is coming up for you that you need to pay attention to and work on. So being out of Ayni, if you will, was really the turning point for me when I realized that's what was happening. I was out of harmony, I was out of reciprocity. And I started looking at things like my relationships, like how much time I spent outside with the earth, really paying attention to the world around me. And the answer was not much. I was very isolated. And I think that's a natural reaction that us humans have when we are in pain or something that we don't like is happening around us. We tend to isolate, right? What I've learned, though, is that the exact opposite is called for most of the time when we're experiencing something like that. Instead of turning, especially as men, right, we're constantly reinforced this image of the provider, um, the, the the earner. We have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. It's not okay to ask for help, all that kind of stuff. And I know it applies to women too, but the stereotypical male, especially, that applies to. And what I've learned through trial and error over the years is exactly the opposite is what is required for your healing. And it is so healing for others to see a man stand up and be vulnerable and say, I don't know what to do. I need help. That's simple, simple, but powerful and profound, right? I need help. I don't have it all figured out. I don't know what to do next. I can listen to somebody else tell me what to do, but I don't know what to do. And that's a key to this as well, is really uncovering your own ability, your own wisdom. The spirit within you that is expressed through you has incredible wisdom for you. You have to learn how to listen, and you can become your own guru and your own healer. That's what I feel like I'm doing now. I'm still healing, right? I still have some things I want to work on. I think it's a journey of a lifetime. But if I look back on how I was living back when I was recovering from my ulcer, 2016, 2017, that time period, compared to how I'm living now, if you would have told me back then in 2025, I would be living pain free and I would be taking no medication and I would have lost 130 pounds and I would have more exuberant energy now than I did in my 20s, I would have thought you were high. Like, what are you talking about? That's not even possible. Well, I'm telling you, it is possible. And not only am I living proof, but many people that I'm connected to now that I've gone through training with, that I've connected with as clients, have similar stories. It all starts with the belief that that kind of healing is possible. And where spirit comes into it is feeling like you're connected to something greater than yourself. I don't get caught up in labels. In fact, the lineage that I was trained with, the Karo, especially what we call shamans, they call them Pacos, right? The wise people, the medicine men and women, Pacos and Pacas, they don't really care what you call them. They don't get all twisted up about, oh, don't say shaman because that doesn't apply to them. They don't care. Their whole thing is to get us to wake up and understand our own divinity, understand that we are connected to the creator, to the all that is, to Mother Earth, to the four winds, to the directions. We're connected to all of it. And once we awaken to that fact and we can step up and be counted by spirit, we can ask spirit to help us because we're offering our help to spirit. There's where that reciprocity comes in. They refer to it as a pact. You show up for spirit 100% of the time, and spirit will show up for you 100% of the time. Now, sometimes spirit brings you things that are uncomfortable, things that you don't like, things that you don't prefer, but it's always in service of your highest good, as hard as that is to grapple with sometimes. You think about grief and loss and pain and all the things that we experience in this life that are difficult. We're experiencing those things in service of our own transformation, of our own healing. It's not about the event itself, it's about how we perceive it and how we live through it, how we live with it. And once we get that, we can have an amazingly rich experience in our life without getting stuck in these negative emotions and these spirals that we go through. I was stuck for years. It still comes up for me, but I have a different perception, right? Something comes up that I don't prefer, I don't like, I experience pain or suffering or loss or whatever it is. I'm thinking about it on multiple levels. I'm acknowledging that it hurts, for one. Don't think that it doesn't hurt, right? That doesn't change. But I'm also experiencing on other levels where I'm observing myself experiencing it. Eckhart Tolle has a great series of books where he talks about the witness or the observer. There's an element of our awareness that we can engage. We all have it, where we can witness what we're experiencing while we're experiencing it. And it gives us a bit of dispassionate detachment from observing those events and allows us a little space, even if it's just a breath, where we can respond rather than just reacting. Because the thing we usually do is just react. Oh, I'm upset. I'm going to go there, right? And you might be able to feel that, but with the observer engaged, you kind of process it quickly. You get it through your system quickly. And that is the difference, right? So what I really teach in my coaching practice is how to engage some of those tools, the breath, how to engage tools around being connected to nature, putting your bare feet on the earth and the letting the sun fall on your face, feeling connected to nature, doing mindful walking. There's a whole bunch of things that are kind of in that tool bag. Being present in a different way in your life and engaging the tools that we all have to finally be free from chronic pain, fatigue, chronic conditions, the different things that you might be feeling. What all this is leads up to is really living a life where you're in a regenerative state, which is the natural state for us to live in. But because of all the toxicity that we experience on a daily basis, where whether it's chemical, food, toxic media, toxic ideas, we're being bombarded with this stuff all the time, right? So how can we be healthy in the middle of all that? Well, you can. You can. It has a lot to do with your perception and a lot to do with how you feel connected or don't with something greater than yourself. So, what I am inviting you to do, if any of this resonates with you, please put in the comments spirit to call out the topic today, right? If you feel connected, if you don't feel connected, whatever you feel about it, put spirit in the comments. And that'll let us know that you're listening and that what we're saying resonates with you. And what I'm inviting you to do, and I'll put a link in the comments below, is connect with me and talk to me for 15 minutes. You'll be able to schedule some time with me, and we'll just discuss whether any of these tools or techniques that I've learned and that I put in my program can actually help you where you are. I'm in this to help people. This is my calling. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life. If I can help you, I will tell you. And if I can't help you, I will tell you. I also have the advantage of being connected to a lot of other wonderful healers in different modalities, even some medical doctors and psychiatrists and things like that. Um, I believe that there is truth and there is help everywhere. It's up to us to get our spirit and our body and our mind aligned in a way that we can use our discernment to find the right kind of help. And so that's what I will try to do with you. And I promise I will be honest with you. If you are honest with me. So with that, I'm going to leave you for today. And I hope that you reach out and connect with me. And I would love to talk to you. Again, there's no obligation for this. It's just an exploration to see whether what I offer can help you. So I wish you the best on your journey, and I love you, and I hope to talk to you soon.